What's up, YouTube? We're gonna look at cars and trucks. We got 164 scale this time. Still kind of like a 124 scale last video, but that's gonna be occasionally some of the videos, the bigger scales. So I do like that. Now, when you get a lot of cars, you can't really get a big scale all the time just because, well, two things really. They definitely cost more than the 164th, and they take up a lot of space. Now, most of us probably watching this don't have unlimited space at their establishments unless you rent a warehouse. So you're at the point where you kind of concentrate on certain areas of cars you want to get, and then you kind of drop off. And I was having that realization this weekend. We were traveling a little bit, and we went to a couple places. There was a nice place that had a lot of cars in it, and I noticed that the majority of the vehicles I was looking at were things that I've seen in the stores, and I passed on them the first time, and I'm not going to get them the second. So some of these places are really turning into big time flip mills where we want to find the older stuff, maybe the things that you haven't found a few years back, but a majority of the things, I'd say 90% of the stuff I saw was, within the last year or so, these vehicles were released. And a lot of times you see that, prices are obviously a little bit higher than usual. And it's already stuff I would have got originally. So, but I did find some things along the way. And let's take a look. Now, this one I just got. And I noticed that this car is going to get released when I saw it online. And I had to get another one of these. So this is the Majorette version of the 190E 2.5 16 Evo, and this is the 2. So let's take a look at this bad boy. We're going to open this up all the way and just have the card. The Majorette does do pretty thick plastic, so you got to have a good blade. I have this miniature blade. It's kind of nice. Anyway, seems to work a little bit better than the X-Acto just because it's a little tougher. I'm not going to break the blade off in the package, and that's kind of why I decided to switch. So the most recent release, it's funny that these are just as good quality as the pink slip version of the Majorette, but they're $1 cheaper. And they seem to be a little bit more normal. Big scale. Car's probably 160, 158 scale, something like that. Let's see what it says under here. Yeah, 159. So all Majorettes usually have an opening feature and rolling. Probably some of the best like mainline semi-premium diecast out there. I haven't used them on a Hot Wheels track. I feel like they'd be pretty good. Now, what do you get for your money? Let's take a look. We are going to get this one down from the Mercedes spots and then take a look. Now I got the Hot Wheels ones, but they're kind of in a case, so this is supposed to be 164 scale. And all we're doing really quick, what I'm kind of looking at right now is not obviously the scale difference, but just seeing the shape. If they get the shape right on the car, which seems to be pretty good, that's almost good enough for me. I don't really need this 64 scale necessarily. This thing is a true masterpiece. It's funny that we've seen the race livery ones of these recently, but not more in stock. There was another stock version of this car released, but this one truly is the best. What a car. Probably the West 190E and 164 scale, probably besides the Tomica limited vintage version. That was, yeah, well, it's very expensive now, but basically same type of vehicle, even though this is high performance. Hopefully they release this again, maybe in a different color, although I don't remember if this car actually came in a different color than gray. It might have been black. Factory color anyway. Anyway, we're looking at the car we've already looked at on screen a long time ago. So, anyway, just for everyone to take a look at, like a kind of like how scale really changes, even when you change it from 1/64 to 159. How much difference there is. Okay, we'll put this one away, and there's your little boxaroo. I save these boxes, but the other stuff gets pitched. All right. Let's open up some old Greenlight that has. I was going through some boxes, and I found these that I decided to finally open. So let's open them. Now, we haven't seen Crown Vics in a minute. Greenlight, you know, they kind of exploded for a couple of years of the wagons, and now it's kind of slowed down a bit on them. But these are cool. And this is Hotel Coronado, and that should be in San Diego, out on the island of Coronado. So very, very famous establishment. And of course, we have our big naval military installation out there, and being on our southernmost big city down there on the west coast of California. Quite a place. Very, very pretty. Driven by it before. I never stayed there. I don't spend that kind of money when I travel. But anyway, cool place. So this is an '88 Crown Vic LTD, Country Squire, whatever. And it's got the updated front end on it. They really didn't change the taillights all the way until this car went away in 91, 90. Tailgate always has issue with these Greenlights. Now, you can see many videos on these cars throughout the channel. And a lot of times it's the casting is fine, the metal's good. It's usually the plastic that holds these up a lot of times. This one's not too bad. The hobby exclusive cars typically, again, have a better low level quality. Especially this is pre Greenlight getting bought out in 23. So 2023 kind of the first year of new ownership. You got a chip there, but that's really just paint coming off because they chrome these. I talked about this before. They chrome this front end and then they add the details in after the fact. So all the painting gets done after it's been chromed. And it gives it a good detail, but it's delicate. So you could clear coat the front end and then kind of get it from chipping, but now I got to color match that chip. So probably good I took it out of the package, didn't try to sell it later or whatever, because I'm sure someone would get disappointed in that. So there's our Crown Vic there. Now this one's kind of cool too. This is Tijuana Taxi. This is an '88 Crown Vic as well, but with the more modern wheel cover, which came out on these body styles. I prefer this wheel cover to this older wheel cover on this car. I think they're trying to make this also look like it's the aluminum wheel, but I don't buy it. All right, so open this up too. These cars, all the wagons, I'm pretty sure they had the 302, although maybe the 5.8 was available in a few of them. 351 tow package car, etc. 351, the 5.8 was in the Crown Vic police cars as well, and it was carbed for a long time. And I think even in towards the end of the box, Crown Vic, when you had 5.8, was a carb vehicle. They did put fuel injection in it eventually. A little fuzzy since I last looked at the year changeover for the 5.8. I know the 302 was fuel injected for a long time on the Crown Vic. So we can see the better. I like these wheels that Greenlight's tooled up. They look very convincing as that later Crown Victoria wheel cover. And it's got should be Mexican registration. Yeah, pretty sure. So, kind of cool. kind of interesting. I want to put this up in the taxi cab area that I got with the other taxis, and I don't have any taxi wagons out there, so I figured I'd crack these open. So there we go on those two. Did we look at this one? Well, I'll just do it real quick, just in case I forgot. There's our barcode. These are probably still available. They made a few of them, and I don't think they're huge sellers. This one is only serial number 905, and then this one is 20. I didn't even realize it. Oh no, 200. So pretty low production compared to, you know, what you quote unquote mainline Greenlight cars, you know, that you can get at Target and stuff and Walmart. Those are in, you know, 5-6 figure range in terms of production. Okay. Or no, 4 or 5 figures. I don't know. 6 figures. That'd be a lot for one thing. Let's take a look at another old time casting. These are two that I did find at the locations I was inhabiting. Now, this one was an old release, and so was this. This goes for a good penny now, as far as Auto Worlds go. If you're paying anywhere $20 and over on Auto World, it's considered pretty good. And these older box cars, now I didn't get the whole package, but I did have the box. I got these for a song. You know, sometimes I think people have a larger collection, or they're getting rid of someone else's stuff, and so sometimes you get lucky on Auto World. And just gotta keep a keen eye out. So we got these. Let's take a look at the castings. Now I tuned up both. The axles were a little bit jacked up, but the cars were mint, so I assume that they're just in the boxes. They were never really out on a shelf or anything. These are pretty much from the same time period. When I went to Auto World Collector, I think 2017, something like that, is when these were around. I'll put the exact date below for everybody, so it'll be in the description. But yeah, so and they used to have the little ruler on there. These are cool. I get it. There's a lot of packaging that they have to pay for, so I understand that these are gone. But I got all of them. Pretty much all the ones in the box there that I wanted, except for some of the early stuff. So it's nice to fill in some of these, you know, cars either I didn't want back then or didn't realize how much I really actually liked Auto World cars until recently. Like past, I don't know, 3 or 4 years I really got into them. Probably like most of you. They were kind of a year or two there. They were around and you just kind of were in the background. You didn't realize how good they were. So the black with red 442 and the 58 Plymouth with the dark green. Great looking cars. Again, this one was like one of 2,500 or something like that, so it was a pretty low production. I think the same with the olds. Back then, they really didn't make a lot. They were kind of just seeing how the market was, you know. And obviously, it's a great market now, so I'm glad that they're really going full steam ahead. They're investing in the new tooling. They're not just doing a lot of older cars. So, you know, as we've seen from 2020 to about now, every year since, the catalog on the cars has increased by at least 2, 3, 4 toolings. You know, think about it now. We have the new Dodge Ram pickup, the Mitsubishi Eclipse, 3000 GT, the Toyota Supra, the minivans, the Dodge Chrysler minivans. I mean, all these things are relatively new within the past year or so. We're back in this era of cars. You know, we only had about 15 of these things, 15, 20, and they just kept doing them over and over again. You know, you'd see the 442 and then the Firebird and then the 58 Plymouth, and then you'd see the 64 Wagon, and then you'd saw the Mustangs, and then you just kept seeing that kind of stuff. What that was smart. You know, they started out with what they knew was popular. Now we're starting to get into more niche vehicles, you know, JDM, a little bit of younger guys, younger gals, little stuff. So we went from this stuff, which has been hot since, you know, they came out in those generations. Now we're starting to get into the 80s and 90s, and I think that's pretty cool. And I know we're all excited for that. You know, I think the square body kind of led that revolution into the 80s and the late mid-70s. They're like, well, these cars are really popular. Why don't we expand on that? And now we have the Lincolns and all that kind of cool stuff that we probably all wanted when these cars were on the road still. We were like, wow, I wish they would have a diecast of that. Never got it until now. It was always the 62 Corvettes and the 57 Chevys and all that kind of stuff, and the Cobras and the Corvettes. But now we're getting Lincoln Mark V's and Plymouth Voyagers, that kind of stuff. Vans, which we're going to look at here in a minute. Now, we've been through these cars before. This one does have, and I've looked at the autoworldcollector.com, that's a database. Really the only 442 released with these wheels. These wheels they used on the Malibu cars, mostly. And then we have our cold air induction 442. Big block. And with the black with the red, very nice. Very, very nice car. 4-speed, 4-barrel. Dual exhaust, 442. So all I did on this was I finished the black wash on the wheels. They only did a thin stripe of black and it doesn't look very good. So I kind of darkened that up a little bit. And we just straightened. The axles were good. Then we just straightened the wheels. There's a little crack in the bottom one there, but that was from the factory. These are very thick posts on these wheels. They're not delicate like Greenlight and M2 wheels. They're a little bit tougher. And so you can kind of go in there and correct it without taking it off the axle, which I like about Autoworld. Basically, it gets pushed on the barbs on the axle, but it goes on an angle, and it just needs to be tweaked. You don't really even have to do anything much more than put a needle nose in there and give it a little twist. But yeah, great casting. And then we have the Plymouth, which, what a great car. This is a 7. They were really trying to capture the market, and they did great sales volumes. But the cars, unfortunately, they didn't have the depth of engineering and tooling that General Motors and Ford did. So cars are awesome, but they were rushed into production, and they had a lot of issues. And even though that for the 3 years subsequent into the early 60s, good sales volume, they kept trailing off because of the quality of the vehicles. And these were very prone to rust as well. But the clean ones are just incredible. The car has a really great stance. Probably one of the cleanest 57 cars out there. I think it looks just as good as a Cadillac or a Chevrolet. And it's just an iconic car. Great in green. Green's one of my favorite colors on these cars, so it's really nice to see. And of course we got the mint green one, which I didn't take down, I don't think. But I got a couple of these. Got the red one. And there's I think this is a dual quad car. Yeah. You can see they did great on that too. What a cool car. Great color. Let's get this in focus. Alright, let's continue on. I'm going to put these boxes where they need to go. And they go over here. I got a box for those boxes. Okay, next, I'm going to put this Mercedes up. Ooh. Let's look at another good one. So I found the 87 Suburban K20. So this one's supposed to be 3/4 ton as well. Hitch and Tow Series 29. Suburban Silverado package with the boat trailer. Of course, these boats are worthless. Be good if I would actually want the boats made out of plastic so I could float them, but they're metal, so they don't float, which is not very fun. I'm actually gonna toss that. We don't need that. Okay, so let's take a look. Now I took the fat tires off of this one, just like I did with my other Suburban, my 90 or the 89. And I put a smaller tire on this. Now, this was a factory error vehicle, if you can take a look. Where is the error? Well, that. You can see they're on their new rim that they're going to be putting on. Well, the EMS and the FDNY Suburbans, they're going to have this wheel back here painted, but this is just what it looks like chrome. You can see the relief. And that's the full wheel cover that's supposed to be on it. So I did get a factory error car. I didn't realize that until I took it out of the package because it wasn't the wheel facing out. So I didn't see that until I was playing with the tires. Now I didn't clear coat the wheels before I started playing with it. So again, the chrome is very fragile on Greenlight. So if you're going to do any pocket car with it, or you're going to do some customization, it would be good for you to take microfiber, wipe it down, because this one has grease on it. Even though this is a newer Greenlight release, the hitch and tow cars and some of the higher volume stuff gets a lot of grease on it, and this one had it. But anyway, wipe that off and put some clear coat on there. I've showed that before what I do, but that'll prevent that stuff from rubbing off, and you can see now that I'm starting to get a lot of black marks on these wheels. But I did put the smaller gauge off-road tire on it. I did not have another set of these right now, so which were the Greenlight fat tires. So on the sidewall they look great. But I really think that what's going to happen with this is, even though I like these, the full cover wheel cover on these because they look cool, it looks like the 80s. They're just not doing it for this particular vehicle. So we're probably going to put some Auto World rallies, or we're going to put some Steelies with the caps from the Silverados, the square bodies. I had fitted some and they look really good. So we're going to go in that direction. I just have to sacrifice a truck. And I don't know if I feel like digging into the stash and doing that, or robbing it off of another custom. Or I just have dilemmas with, paying $5 to $10 on a car and then ripping up a part. It's hard for me to do it. So maybe I'll find a cheap Silverado online that's really cheap and just use the wheels from it. But anyway, here you go. So it really looks good. It's got the old school grill. This is the newer grill. This came out. This grill is, I think, 89. Pretty sure. Yeah, 88 was the older one. So 89, 90, 91, 92 was the new body. So 91. So anyway, that's the one that a lot of people get and backdate their trucks or update them. They put this grill on the older bodies a lot of times. So here's that, which I like this scheme, like the red in the middle, but I'm ready for a new color. They are going to be doing yellow, like a construction zone vehicle, and then construction company, and then some other stuff. Maybe a blue on silver, blue on white would be nice, or green. That would be very nice too. Hopefully they do like an early 80s, like an 81. That'd be nice. Oh, and the other thing that was cool about this is this. I didn't talk about that yet, but the barn doors, I brought that up last time, and I got surprised. We got barn doors now on this version. So very excited to have that. Weather stripping looks a little thick, but it is basically a different core. We got two different cores, similar tooling, but the other core. So this would be a little bit more useful, I think, on a vehicle like this than the tailgate, but, I could be wrong about that. These are more coveted, though, in the community of suburbanites. They like that. And, of course, you could see the badge update from 87 to 90 or 89. They tried to modernize the vehicle slightly by going from the old school badge up there to now it lowered it down there, and kind of gave it a more modern look, but really not doing much. So they're able to get their money out of the old tooling. So I hope everybody like looking at the Suburban. I do. I like these. These are cool. These look very, very good because the bodies are highly accurate with those rims when we change the wheels out. So I kind of want another one of these. I like this as it's a factory error truck, and I don't want to screw it up. So I'll probably try to find another one of these and take it out of the package. So that's what we're going to do with that. All right, so let's put the black one back. That was a comparison vehicle. Back this up over here. Flip this around. All right. So, here's the boat. If you ever seen Greenlight boats, they're funny. They're screwed to the base here. They can come off. And these little, it's like stern drives. Little speed boats, little ski boats. Good trailer. It's got the cool wheels. So, and it's got the little fitted covers. So, good for diorama stuff, really. Have a little thing parked out back. Have little boats. got a couple of these. I don't have too many of these boats. So, but this one's kind of neat. The yellow. Maybe it'll go with my camper setup here. Here's my camper truck. It's funny. All right. Well, boat can go over here. We'll put it over there. All right. Oh, let's take a look at some more stuff. Get through it. Well, this one. Before I get too ahead of myself, I found the Coke van. So we'll look at that. We had the Sweet Hearts van. Now we got the Coke van. This one's good because I wanted to leave it in the Coke livery, where in the other one I don't. So if you looked at the Instagram page, you'll notice what I did to the Sweetheart one. Here's the Coke one. And it looks great. A couple dollars more than the regular one. Now, this month, February, they're going to be releasing that. One of them's already hit the ground, and the shipping is the window vans of these. So the Beauville, the Sport van, those type of vehicles. Shorties, they're not going to do a different wheelbase. So it'll still be a short wheelbase. But we're going to have like a little bit of semi-camper one. They're going to have the seats in it. You're going to have the windows. It's going to have the two-tone paint job. There's going to be green and white, yellow. So we're going to be excited for that. Definitely getting those vans. Hopefully I can get a few of them. I really like these things. These are I like these a lot more than the Greenlight ones. Love the wheels. Wheels look fantastic. I love the new tooling. These wheels and tires will go good on the pickup trucks, just as good as these. So if you have pickups from the 60s and early 70s, and you can kind of trade them around, make them a Ford hubcap too if you wanted to. But, General Motors stuff, use them. I left everything alone on this van. It's got chrome bumper. It's got painted silver grille. The Tampa work was pretty good. Got the separate tail. I like this van. 71, first year for this body style. Now here's my custom van. I painted it in gold, and I detailed it. And now these vans back then, the base ones, you'd have the painted bumpers. They weren't for chrome, and you'd have the painted grille. And that's what I did on this one. And I painted the interior like an ochre color, like a yellow color that kind of matched that kind of funny brownish yellow interior. So we got that going on inside the van. Now I cleared it, and the clear reacted with the paint. I had it normal, so there was a picture on Instagram before I cleared it where you didn't see any ghosting, and then after I cleared it. But I almost kind of like the clear just because it looks like the paint's older. Maybe the van's been kind of patinaed a little bit, so I kind of like that. I also filled in the wheels with a little bit of black wash and gave them a little bit more detail because these early hubcaps had that painted detail, so I followed through with that. And the interior really comes alive when you give it some color other than black. So did that, did the door panels, and I did the grill. Now the grill's not perfect. I mean, it's a small scale. It's my first one I've done, so I'll probably do the next one pretty well. I want to get a few of these and do different colors, maybe a yellow or green. But I do like the painted front ends on them. They look pretty cool. And I left the window, I left the surround on the window, painted that in. You can see the wiper arms continue into the casting, which I thought was kind of neat. So you can see the paint lifted a little bit, but it kind of makes the van look a little worn out. So I kind of like that. I got it to roll perfect. M2 tires. And then I lifted the rear base plate a little bit because it was sitting too much on its ass. And it happens a lot with these cars. It needed to at least be level or a little bit up. So I kind of got it to a level stance. And it looks a lot better. I also gave it a little bit better back spacing. Looked in my books on these cars. Pictures of them when they really were out there when they were new. Wheels are about there on the back spacing, so I got that to true up. Originally, they're too far in. I didn't really touch this one yet, so a little too far in. Not bad, but just a little too much for my taste. You can see how this is too far in. This really should be out like that. So that's what we got going on there. And then I frosted the back windows a little bit. That's it. The only thing that gave me a little bit of trouble with these taillights, I knew that they're glued in, but they're glued in after the car gets painted. So what you do is, you know, you take the car apart, and you'll see the back hole where they go in. There's like a little slot, and you just put a little tiny punch in there and tap it slightly, and they'll pop out. There's no way you're going to be able to take a knife or a blade and kind of pick at them to pull them out. I knew that was going to happen. So either I was going to bust them or I'd ruin the outside. So I'd rather ruin the taillight than the vehicle itself. So I said, let's give it a shot. They usually don't glue them heavily, but it's enough glue to be tight. So I punched them from the back with the punch, a small one. You know, there's a really tiny hole. It's probably like a 16th hole or whatever, or a 32nd. You know, one of those smaller sizes. But anyway, you punch it out, and they flew out. You had to catch them. You know, if you're not good with catching them, put a little piece of tape on there against the body, and then when you punch on it, it won't fly into nowhere. If that's a tip I can provide. But I didn't need to do it. I was able to do it where it just kind of popped off. So I got lucky. And the rest of it is easy. All this stuff, all the windows come out, the bumpers, that all can come off. Just got to be gentle. So anyway, there's my painted one. I kind of like to show it off because I do like this van. And it's very, very 70s, so I like the way it looks. All right, so it's our Coke one. That's the main one we're going to that we reviewed. We looked at the Sweetheart Van's last 1/64 scale video, so if you want a little bit more information on that vehicle, go ahead and watch that video. All right, then we look at this. I don't know if we did or not, but there it is. One of 9250, so that's kind of been the trend for the last few years, about under 10,000 units on these type of stuff. And there's your information there. Okay, another M2. Before we go to one last Auto World, I finally found this, and this is another thing I found at the store. I was alluding to, you know, it was late model stuff that's been out last year. Now these kind of are crazy for me. You know, they've had these for the last few years. Never can find these display at the local ones that I go to, because I know that it's not common necessarily for these ornaments to be in the car section or the toy section. Maybe there's somewhere else in the store. Since I don't really shop at Walmart unless I'm going to look at cars, I just never really spent the time to find them. And sometimes I don't think all the Walmarts ordered them. Unfortunately, I've also saw on social media that there was overstock of these, and either Walmart or Ollie's were selling these for nothing. It's like $2 or something. So I definitely missed out on that gravy train. But the people that were at the reseller or the antique mall or whatever you want to call it around the flea market or however you want to name it had these, and these were the people that did probably pick them up for $2. So I got this for very cheap. So I was excited. And this is one of the ones I wanted, and it's just a cool thing. They were hell getting out. I had to figure out how the ball in there was constructed, and I figured out just by using a little bit of force with your fingertips, it came apart. But it had me going there for a minute. I thought it was glued or taped, but it wasn't. So I was able to pry it apart no problem. You just kind of got to squeeze it a little bit. Not crack it, but squeeze it, and it busted the blues. What's cool about this is it's like a Spectra Flame, but it's flat, and it's painted right on the Zamax, so it's got a great effect to it. And these are in beautiful condition, so really good attention to detail for M2. The wheels rolled perfectly. I didn't even touch this yet. I didn't space them, and they need a little bit of spacing, but I'm not even going to touch these because these are going to be pretty hard to find, and I like having these around. Now we have the other snow fitter that was out in a single and in the 6-piece set. Didn't have the Spectra Flame. I think it was a blue one with the stripe, but these are cool. It's got this awesome green and this blue. And they got the snow fitter. And then they also have the Holidays 2023, which is cool. So these are really nice trucks. And they have the Poly 318 in them, looks like, or the 360. Let's see what we got. So this is a 74, so kind of early in this generation's lifespan. Got the black fenders. Let's take a look. Yeah. The hoods on the Dodges work very well. I'm not going to do that too much, so I think it might chip the paint somewhere. The grills are exceptional on these Dodge trucks. Get this to focus. So you can see how nice that looks. I love the Mopar trucks, so I'm glad to have them. I'm not even going to do a black wash on the tires. I just think it looks that good. Here's one I did tune up. I didn't do any black wash on the wheels, but I did do the spacers. So that, I mean, the way this truck is set up with the way the tires look, that's the way it should really be. When you're running like this is like a 38 or a 35 at least. 36 tire, so pretty big tire. And you'd have a little bit of kick out there. It wouldn't be tucked in that nicely. I think I have my Macho van truck too. Here it is. This is another one. So also, this is cool because you can see that they tooled two different grills. And that was right before they went to the other body style with the different front end into the 80s. But so I'm getting a bunch of these now. So hopefully get more of them. I did see the regular ride height step side, but I didn't get that. I tend to like this body style a bit better. So there we go on those Dodge trucks. I don't know if I should take this apart because I'd like to make like a dealership sign out of these, because these are like this clear plastic, so you can kind of make a sign out of it and put a backlight on it, have it lit up. But I don't know, I might probably need more of these. But it's got all the right pieces for a sign. It's got the Pentastar in the right kind of size. I can also make a really big one and cut that out. So I don't know, kind of spitballing there. All right. One last vehicle. This was another one I saw that, sometimes these real sellers will get stuff that you get online. You just never pulled the trigger on it. And you're like, it was shipping, whatever. But then when you see it in the case or at the store, you're like, oh, well, that's kind of what I wanted. I just didn't ever buy it online. And so if the price is right, you'll get it. And this is a really good price. I wanted one of the Lowrider trucks, and this was a cool one. So I saw this. I love the color on it. MiJo exclusive. I think it's from this year, so it's not an old one, but again, it was kind of nice to see it. So I was like, you know what? I saw it in person. I really liked it. I'm not a crazy Lowrider collector, but some of the cars, like this one and my Cadillac, they're cool. They're really special. This one's probably going to go down in history as one of the better ones, and probably going to be worth something. Probably needed to get a couple of those. Some of those Greenlights can go high on their money, depending on what they are. So this one's excellent. The tampo work is excellent. It's more like a decal than it is paint work. If you touch this with a hand that has some residue on it, you'll feel it. Rolls great. And it's a typical C10, but we have this livery on there. 83 front end. Black. Engine black at this point. It's not orange. I don't want to open that too hard. You can see that decal right there is hanging off. So this one actually, kind of want to be careful with it because some of that stuff could lift up if you're not careful. They really didn't clear over this, so this is kind of like on there. So you got to be kind of careful with the tampo work on it. But there she is. Just a cool truck. You could see it, doing the bumping and grinding that they do. Kind of driving like this down the road. So that's a cool truck. Runs cool. And it'll look good with the other ones. I like kind of having some variety at this point with the square bodies. I liked having all the ones that came out mainline, but it's nice to have some unusual versions of it. I don't need all of them, but this one was cool. I said I'd like the example of one of these trucks. We looked at a lot today. Yeah, more to come. We'll take a look at some other cars soon. I hope you all are enjoying your time looking for cars, not getting too frustrated out there. Patience is a virtue, of course. Hope everybody's doing well, and more cars to come. Take a look at what we got today. More to come. Let's look at that. Ooh, beauties. All right. love showing my cars, love playing with them. So we'll have more to come soon. Thanks for all the new subscriptions. Thumbs up help the channel. Comments help the channel. So feel free to drop me a line on there. Like I said, more to come. Till next time.